Okay. So in this live stream, we'll pick up in the fourth house, which is Cancer's house. So this is going to be a general reading. And in this live stream, I'm going to move through as many houses as possible, working from the fourth house. And, you know, my goal is to get to the 12th house, which is Pisces house. So this is part 2 and part 1 in the daily readings of today. We worked on Gemini's house, Taurus's house, and Aries' house, the first, second, and third house. So let's see how far we can make it in part 2, this live stream. Alright, so the ultimate objective in this reading is to see the trajectory and the way energy is moving through the houses. So the way I try to describe the content is in that way, to see the way energy is moving. So at times I'll use some hypotheticals to help give context, but my goal though is to be as objective as possible, so that if the storyline resonates with what you're going through, hopefully the content will be helpful. So it'll be a short-term energy reading, as energy changes all the time. Even a thought can change the trajectory and the way energy is moving. So let's take a look. Let's see which deck. Okay, it feels like this one. Alright, so here too, I'm looking at a diminished sense of value when I see Pentacles entering the stage. This is the Queen of Pentacles, and it moves through a transformative energetic body like the Temperance here. And then the output, you know, in my third position is a different element. In this case, it's Swords. There's potential loss of value, because on the other side I would expect, hope, because the Pentacle is on the top of the totem pole, you know, to get something more than the Nine of Swords, which looks stressful off the top just by its illustration, the way the author, inscribed it, to look stressful and disappointing. Maybe like a headache there, you know, but sleepless nights, anxiety, nightmare of the soul is described there. The Queen of Pentacles points to the 10th house, Capricorn's house, where there's like a checklist. So it's almost suggesting that whatever it is Cancer is focused on, and according to their expectations, their standards, what they have encountered so far is not meeting their standards. So it looks like there's disappointment, and that would be the reason why. So I'm going to put a pin in that translation off the top. That's what it looks like it's stating right there. And yeah. So now I'll put a pin in that translation and start to clarify it to get more information, a reiteration, or expound upon. Maybe I'll be redirected. So let's see what it is. Let's see, should I use this deck or this one? It looks like this one. Alright, so yeah. That's a confirmation there. Okay, basically reiterating. Not much additional information has been added, but pretty much a restatement of what was said. And let's see, the information here available though is there's definitely was the potential. The potential is here because the Queen of Pentacles being paired and matched with the King of Pentacles there. So it looks like there is potential for a match, but as it moves to the next position, there's the alchemist there. It's clarified with the five of fire. So even off the top without those clarifiers, it was looking like there was dissonance. You know, something was not a match. It wasn't, you know, hitting the checklist. It wasn't making it through the standards, and expectations wasn't there. Um, so we're looking at that stress and the nine of swords, disappointment there with, you know, clarifying that someone is released, someone is setting themselves free. Um, yeah, that's what's being described there. So now could put a pin in that one and be done with that storyline. But let's see. Let's do some work on that. Just to get some more information. Okay. Thank you so much for your support on the video and on the channel. Let's see. Greetings in the chat. What's up? Thank you guys for being here. Your support is appreciated. Your interaction is appreciated. So let's see what's going on. Let's see what we could see. We're going to use this deck right here. Okay, so I'm not picking up much right there. I'm picking up a lot right here and a little bit right there. So, you know, with that being stated, I feel like there is potential within the collective to have progressed. You know, this is not exclusively the case, of course. It's a general reading. But right here is where I feel the most energy right now. And just a little bit right here. And it feels like this part, you know, I don't feel so much energy there. So it's almost as if in the trajectory, you know, you guys may have just met and or let's see, if there's a reconciliation, you guys just came back together with the potential to, you know, move forward together. However, it feels like the dissonance is starting to be realized right around this area right here. But let me go ahead and double check. But that makes me want to start right here with clarifying, working right here. So let me see what's going on. Okay, so I see unexpected income. And then I see the house. And then I see the wealthy man. And then there's the courtship. And then there's the bad health. And then there's the house. And then there's the wedding. And then there's the bad health. And then there's high honor. And then there's the wealthy man. And then it's closed out. So that's interesting that I'm looking at a reconciliation there, and it looked like the energy is actually progressing. So I did not see any unfavorable cards in that reading right there. Hello in the chat. So now I'm gonna back up, because what is this Five of Fire about? Looks like things are progressing here. So I'm almost wondering if there's a third party interference back here, but that alone would be a redirection in what I'm looking at in the cards, because it appeared to be some dissonance right there, but the clarifiers kind of suggest a courtship, and it progresses to marriage and, you know, intimacy is there, unless that's indeed a bad health card. That bad health card kept making an appearance, but it, you know, that's usually my context is everything. That's usually the adult intimacy. So let's see, what card is that? Ooh. Let's see, I want to just look at that a little closer. Where did it come up? Right there. Card number 31. Let me check it out and see what that is. Let's see. Dear Holy Spirit, what is that? Bad health. Attraction. Calling in your soulmate. True love. Healing family issues. Express your love. Chemistry. Healing family issues. Release your ex. Romantic feelings. You deserve love. Heart-to-heart conversation. So far, yeah, and it looks like a respectful, like respectfully, adult activities, getting to know each other, intimacy, attraction, and then there was an indication of releasing your ex. And notice how small a reference it was. Very brief, very quick. So what I'm getting now is that, yeah, there's somebody else in the picture where, but it was a hard block and setting it free. So I feel like that could potentially be the ex that was released and almost not even given a second thought. And so it would be like, no wonder, because on the stage it looks like Cancer had found a match. They're progressing towards courtship. It looks like the connection is also moving towards marriage if they're not married already. You know, for that reconciliation, that it appeared to be either a reconciliation or you met someone new. So let's see here though. I'll continue working. Okay, so right here is where I want to pick up and work on that a little bit. Okay, bad health, house, change, main man. Now you see there in context, that legit looked like bad health. Not the, not the romance, not the, the chemistry that we were looking at. That looked like bad health. So yeah, that looked like the ex's energy being released. And then it pointed to the house because it's almost looking like this, in some cases, this activity with another man is happening in a house. Like maybe that's their marriage house, or maybe that's the house where they used to get down. And so bad health, like he's stressed out. He's feeling a type way. He's blocked out. He's feeling replaced, or at least replaceable. So that's one storyline there. So let's see what's going on. This is the placement that I hadn't clarified, but I'm getting confirmation that that's one storyline because I'm not even feeling any energy over there. And as I was working on the other spread where I put a pin in there, if I didn't put a pin in there yet, I put a pin in that yet now as completed. That's what it was saying. Yeah, I read it just like that. And I don't feel any energy there in that first placement. So that's a done deal. That's one storyline. But now to see what else, because I haven't worked here, but I said all that to say in this case then, this is another storyline. Put a pin in the old one as a completed translation, and then we'll start over right here. Okay, so great fortune, wealthy man, main female, bad health, house, main man. Alright, so it looks like they've met a match here. As far as, Queen and King of Pentacles. And I feel like in context of everything, that bad health was the bedroom. So it looks like they met a match. They progressed to getting to know each other. And see what else. Okay, and then that's being closed out with the coffin. So let me see what else. Main woman, great fortune, change, community, unexpected income, house, and then that seems like that's closing out where there's potential, but it looks like the woman takes the stage as the one who's felt like the one who's wealthy in this one. So she's well off. She's the Queen of Pentacles anyway, and it looks like she was, probably met her person as she was doing her day to day. And so that's a perfect example. We're in Cancer's house, and the Queen of Pentacles described. So all the queens have, every queen has every queen in her. So it looked like she was on her day-to-day, and they met while she was out and about. Then they started engaging, it looks like, getting to know each other. It looks like they went to someone's house, spent some time. It went to adult activities. And there was some unexpected income exchange there too. And they're speaking of unexpected income again. Wealthy man. So here, there's indication that they're both financially doing good. The main woman, bad health. The house, change, despair, family room. All right, so it looks like these people are both financially well off, and they are investing to get to know each other, and they got intimate, they get intimate, but then there's some despair that enters into the reading, and it looks like some depression hits. So they may have withdrawn with this despair energy that suddenly appeared. There's a change, there's a pathway, there's unexpected income, message of concern, main woman, bad health, lovers. Okay, and so it looks like right at the right time, something depressing hit your person of interest. They withdrew, and it looks like one of you checked on the other one and gave a gift. It looks like unexpected income, and met up, and there was some romance there, and it led to love. Love right there. So let's see what else. Main woman, expectation, thoughts, mature man, pathway, bad health, house, mature man, main man. All right. So there. I feel like that's a confirmation that we looked at a courtship, a genuine get to know each other, as described. And now we're seeing two men make an appearance in that reading. So I feel like, yeah, that's a clarifier. Somebody else, it looked like the ex in context of what it was, somebody from the past coming, their energy stepping up right when Cancer and or someone in Cancer's energy is courting and being courted and finding a match there, and that ex popped up right when they started finding love in this new person. They had their connection has started to raise, because it just so happened, as described, this person had withdrew themselves and looked like they were depressed and going through something. So it looks like You know, that person gifted them. It didn't come in as a gift, unexpected income, but it looked like a gift. But it could have just been like I said, compensation to get there to meet up at the house. And then, yeah, one thing led to another as usual, but that time it was love because it looked like they checked up on you, you know, and etc. as described. And right then, that's when the other man popped up. And so with that, and then that clarifier chapter closed out, and we've already looked what was going on over here. So their intimacy started to grow. They started to get to know each other as described. And then there's the five of fire. So my question is answered as to why is this five of fire, and what's going on with the nine of swords. So that was a interesting way to have it clarified, especially how when I started clarifying the five of that position, I was like, well, I don't see any dissonance here at all. What's up with that? And then I imply, oh, it feels like there's probably an ex that got blocked out. That's their feelings in that third position. Somebody's setting themselves free, and the other person is feeling frustrated about being blocked out of the connection. Okay, so that's what we have there. Okay, guys, so we'll move to the next house, which is the fifth house, in just a moment. Okay, so let's see here. We've got to work on stacking the deck and prepare us to move into the next house. Mm. Okay. Okay, so for this one, the fifth house, oh, Leo's house. So I don't know. The first interpretation that I got looking at this is that it looks like Leo energy is trying to heal a situation, you know. And I'm curious with that type of clarifier, what happens in the third position, the Four of Cups being clarified with the Nine of Swords. I'm wondering if they were successful. Um, is this a element of surprise and tears of joy, or is it an element of disappointment and anxiety? So the clarifiers that I got with that type of interpretation that I had initially seems to be uh, reiterated, and the additional information is over here where I want to collect more data. And there's other things to be said about it as well, in context of the fifth house pointing to risky behaviors, indoor gambling, that type of investment, that nature of investment there. It's also the house where a seer and or an astrologer would look to get information about conception and children. But first, I want to look at the relationship. Well, in a relationship context where it looks like Leo maybe, and even as I'm starting to explain it, the interpretation is shifting to the other potential genres that were described, but trying to heal something. If it's a relationship, for an example, trying to heal, wondering if there's an opportunity to heal it, like if yeah, no, there's, I was going to add other things, but it might have probably made it more confusing. If it is a investment opportunity, there has been a running storyline that was describing it and giving some foresight of warning that, it looked like yesterday, like if you're going to make an investment and it's risky gambling, according to your own speculations, of course, you wouldn't want to use this reading solely. It would really kind of be impossible to use this reading all by itself. But anyhow, it looked like yesterday would have been, I didn't, how do I say it? Yesterday was the day, and I described it anyways. Oh, did I do that? I don't even have that reading anymore. Yesterday was a blooper day for me in my recordings. But, my uploads, guys. Sorry. Let's work on the first thing, and I'll come back to work on the other stuff. The good thing, though, is that I feel like those of you who've seen those live streams live, I kind of can tell those of you who come consistently, I feel like you've seen that video. But anyhow, I will explain it. We'll go back over it in just a moment. So I wanted to look over here and get some information. So let's see, bad health, house, change, okay, and then the main male, the main man. So I feel like that was in this deck familiarizing me with the cards to reiterate, to restate the question. So those card combinations, again, I feel like that was the Holy Spirit showing me card combinations that restate my question. Because it points me back to remind me this is a different deck, so the cards presented to answer my question is going to be, it's orienting me to the way I should receive it. So now to go again, there's the bad health, the house, the main, it says the mature man, the main woman, unexpected income, message of concern, main woman, bad health, message of concern, marriage, halfway, great fortune, message of concern. Okay, and then we're closed out. All right, so that suggests there that yes, there's success. There was success there. So, like in the context of a relationship where okay, so yesterday's reading, I have to pause and then I'll go. I go back to explain yesterday's reading and the running storyline that's been in question, or that's been on the stage basically. So the names. Let's see here. A storyline that has been playing out on the stage lately. It's following up on that. I feel like it's piggybacking. It's using that context to refresh, to update. And so it looked like what was being described in a relationship context is that there was an opportunity to reconcile. There was an opportunity to, in the arena of the risk taking, the excitement, the courtship applications that this house embodies. It looked like there was a window of opportunity to reach out to a person that you'd been out of contact with. So we described that there was a window of opportunity where it looked like if you were gonna get a response from them, and I like try to animate the if, because there's different variants as far as what the connection has gone through. So that right here, we're looking at the Tower and the Wheel of Fortune. So there's a variety, there's a variant of the type of different relationships the collective was wanting to have an opportunity to pull out of the cold. So it looks like, hey, if you're gonna shoot your shot right now is the time to do it, because it looks like if you don't shoot your shot within this window, the likelihood of you even thinking about salvaging those type of connections, dot dot dot. I don't see it in the cards to be adding my own emphasis on it without at least telling you this is my personal feeling. What I feel is you can probably maybe kiss that one goodbye. So then we started to explore concepts of, so how do you prepare yourself? Because I can see that a lot of you are hesitating to make that move. And it looks like because of the ego, like a fear of success, like the potential of rejection feels so great. The collateral damage to your own persona feels like it's so great that's what is holding you back from making the move. And it's almost like as we start to face the fear head on, the fear starts to diminish, where it's like, would you rather not know? Does that give you peace? Or would you rather shoot yourself, or shoot your shot? God help me in the words. Blessed Lord, in the name of Jesus I pray, hallelujah, amen. Would you rather try in the greatest, let's say nothing beats a try but a fail? So, or does it feel like you would indeed, I'll just finish it because it slipped out. Or does it feel like indeed it would be like shooting yourself in the foot and you're not going to do it? But anyway, going back and piggybacking on that. So we looked at the window of opportunity, and we started to discover and explore the gradient of, the potential of having success, and then where the gradient was, where it was starting to look like, it was the perfect time to also transition into the interpretation of the storylines and genre, in the genre of it, and say this also applies to those who are looking at taking a risk in investments, and aka gambling. We talked about different types of investments that may fall into that category. blah, blah, blah. Like I said, hey, you know what? I feel like it's important to know your reader's perspective about when it comes to gambling. What do I see as gambling, and versus what you might think is gambling, the casino gambling. Do you feel like, because some people are pretty pros up like in there, and they know what they're doing, they cash out a lot of times, and they got the VIP card. Hey, what do I know? I don't know. For me, the casino is too risky, and that would be gambling. But then to some, the stock market is gambling, and to me, I feel like I have a better understanding of that, and that's more calculated and analytical, and I feel like that's the, so perspective is everything. But it looked like if you're gonna get in, if you're going to do your thing, and we talked about that window of opportunity, and then we also tapped in a little bit, piggybacking off of that. Some people think real estate investment is risky, and I felt like that was a good hypothetical to tap into to explain also the nature of what I was seeing in real estate investing. For an example, as a hypothetical, when we were looking at the window of opportunity, thankfully we had a running storyline long enough to see when it was not at all advantageous and it was looking like a hard no, don't do it now. But then we seen the window of opportunity make its appearance on the stage progressively. And then it says not now, but it's coming. It's coming. So like for an example, if you're searching the market, if you're looking for stocks, if you're, searching the market, if you're looking for the real estate property, now is the time to get ready, to start honing in into one. And it looks like, or however many you're thinking about investing in, and, get your plan together, because it looks like the window of opportunity is opening up and it's approaching, but not yet. But let's pay attention to the mark, start, get ready. And what else was said? So for real estate, for an example, it's a good hypothetical to use, because there is your asset, your commodity, right? And part of your analysis would be to gauge what it takes. For an example, if you're looking to get in and get out, what does it take to prepare this commodity for flipping it? If it feels like it's a long-term investment that requires a lot of investment into it to get it ready to flip it, if it's a long-term one, you know, the window of opportunity is small. So it looks like you need to look at one that has a short-term viability to flip it like quick, get in and get out. If it's long-term, you know, like for an example, your approach to these type of investments is your approach you need to go. So with that one, if it helps to know if your investment prospect is one for long term, there is an opportunity within this window, for an example, to potentially find one. If your concept is to buy low and sell high, it looks like the market might be advantageous for you to find a commodity at a value and then be prepared to hold on to it, because if you're not expecting to flip it quick, dot dot dot. But anyhow, so I hope you guys can grasp my concept and where I'm going. So, for an example, if you're looking to conceive, it looks like, or if you're not looking for any surprises to pop up, you might want to start thinking about your contraceptives, because it looks like fertility is on the horizon, for an example. But there's other more modern ways to watch those things. But anyhow, guys, I'm taking a tangent, right? Should I finish that thought? Because no matter how modern the technology is, there are those of us who still like to refer to some antiquated ways and to use both in all of the tools available. But hey, let me see. Let me try to get focused. So basically, that's what we were exploring in our readings. And I think yesterday was a really good reading, but I couldn't keep it. Anyhow, that window of opportunity is closing. It looks like the clear gradient today is right here. Right here. And then around this area, that window is diminishing more and more and more. Like it looked like yesterday, I think if my memory serves me correctly, the gradient was still here. but the area of residual advantageously was wider than it is today. It's closing in, it's getting smaller than what it was yesterday. But there still is potential right here because the clarifiers said yes. And also what's being described in this reading is that there's some in the collective who decided to, they may have missed, you know, capitalizing on when the window was bigger. Or maybe they attempted to, you know, make a move when that window was bigger, but maybe dot dot dot, maybe they feel like they could have done better. I don't know, because it felt like they wanted to heal this situation. But context is everything, because maybe they want to initiate right around here. Because in yesterday's reading, it also looked like there were some who, it almost looks like, hey guys, if you're flipping something, for an example, and you've gotten in and you've gotten out, then you reinvested, got in, and you got out, and you reinvested, you got in, and you got out, and you're thinking, and it was like, so the highlighted area of concern, guys, is get in, get out, and stay out, unless, you know, depending on your situation, you're feeling froggy and you want to get in and you feel like you want to get in and get out again, or hold it. I don't know, however your speculations go in your system, hold it a little bit longer to get better returns. But here it looks like this reading says just by the hair on somebody's chinny chin chin, they made it. Because there's a yes right here. And this Nine of Swords is the tears of joy type energy. And we've seen that there's yes. And also looked like the rate of success on that was just as they speculated it to be, because for that energy, that looked like they were thinking about either holding it a little bit longer because they were expecting, you know, the maturity date, as you know, to multiply the return if they held it longer, something to that extent, or get in and get out, whatever they did. That clarifier suggests, yeah, you were successful, and it looks like your gains were big. Your gains are big. But by the hair in your chinny chin chin, you made it out good. And the reason why it looks like your gains are good is because it looks like it has the potential to have residual benefits to continue to gain larger profits in the future. Um, Now, for an example, translating that back into a relationship reading, like if somebody is reconciling and, you know, having an opportunity to have a second chance, it's like, whoa, like somebody is so grateful to have this chance. And also, it looks like the potential to ascend, your connection to ascend to a higher level of commitment looks good too. So those are like real tears of joy. Like, I found the love of my life, and oh, I almost lost you, and I don't want to lose you again type energy. And oh my God, this like, and then somebody pops the question type energy, like, I don't want to lose you again, and here's the proposal, like, will you marry me type energy, because what we went through just now type energy, like what we just made it out of, I realized I don't want to live without you. I can't. I don't want to spend another day, another moment without you type of proposal. And it's like, oh my goodness, you know, they weren't expecting it. It's like, anyhow, that's the storyline, is what it looks like there for that potential, okay? And then, of course, for the conception, if somebody's been trying and trying and trying, you know, for an example, and then it's like the window is closing of fertility kind of, and it's just like, let's just try, you know, let's just try one more time, and however your methods is, you know, and it's like you've been through it, but you're gonna try it again, and just by the hair of your chinny chin chin type energy, you got it. And you guys our what do you call it now? You're um, you're conceiving. You have positive, like a positive reading on your test, right? Okay, guys, so that's what's and for some reason I'm even thinking about adoption. If you guys have been going through it and through it and through it, you know, and you finally find, or there's so many scenarios. What is it? Surrogacy. And you're looking for the right surrogate, and you finally find one. But there's a lot of different ways to apply it. So your storylines, if it does resonate, so I try to leave it as vague as possible, so that if it does resonate, you can get as much out of the translation as as possible too. So now I'm going to prepare to move us into our next house, which will be the 6th house, aka Virgo's house. Oh yeah, but I don't want to forget to say also that there are stages. So it looks like, let's see, where's my, I don't want to forget to mention that there's phases, right? Like I said yesterday, I was working on some personal reading request, and I was like, hey, I'm not that good at timing. I'm starting to get a little bit better. But so this is supposed to represent like the recent past energy, but sometimes I get feedback that lets me know, you know, the one I'm reading for, they'll say, hey, that's actually happening right now, and it's in this past energetic placement. This is supposed to be present energetic placement, and over here is near future. So that's why I was talking about the gradient. I would safely place the gradient right there. But then for those of you who are holding long, uh, here's where I detect like a little window, and you notice how it kind of converges a little bit, like out here where there's residuals, and we got a success here, but I would kind of make it right there to be safe. And over there it looked way too risky for me, so I'm starting to expect to see that window diminish more and more. But this right here may be the hard gradient, but we'll see how when we update it, how that's gonna work out, or if we'll get a different storyline altogether, because this has been running for some time. A different storyline might present soon, but that's what I'm noticing as far as timing. Okay, so the 6th house is Virgo's house. It's the King of Cups. points to the King of Cups points to the 8th house. King of Cups also points to the 4th house and the 12th house. So let's see here. I could have just, that could have just fell out of the deck due to happenstance, but I'm going to get into the reading now. Let's see. Should it be this deck that I work with or this one? Or should it be? I don't think it was this one. Not that one. Over here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Well, I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget what I'm looking at now. Like, I think I almost did one of the houses. I developed it after I had got the reading. Instead of translating it here, I continued working on it, and I almost forgot the first I almost forgot the first one. So I'll work this one first. Okay, the first thing is I'm reminded of one of the, it's gonna become a disclaimer eventually, but I'm still kind of, sometimes I'm reminded to look at the first position, and I'm looking at the value and the gradient of the value as it progresses through transformative energy. Usually I find that transformative energy right here, but sometimes it's different places. But anyhow, in the output of it. So when I come into the picture with the 5 of Pentacles in this case, but basically when I come in the picture with Pentacles and it goes through a transformative energetic body, and then I'm looking at the output, if it's not Pentacles, then immediately I'm definitely looking for where did the value go type of energy. I'm looking at what happened during this transmutation. So anyhow, the situation that we've come into the picture with the 5 of Pentacles, and at the end of the storyline, we have the King of Pentacles. It looks like there's an upgrade that took place here. So to have the 5 of Pentacles move through the Empress energy, and then have the King of Pentacles as the outcome, that's positive movement of the energy through the houses. So that's through this house, this is good. Now, and that would be like a general energy reading where I'm wondering, hey guys, sometimes, I could imagine I might not have the energy to work the readings out as to the extent I am right now. If I come in and I just give you a straight reading like that, I'm hoping, I already know there's a part in the audience that will benefit from that, because there's subscribers that have been here for some time, couple of years. But anyhow, for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm trying to get you accustomed to my method here. That could be a straight reading, and I'll leave it there as that. We'll continue working it because there has been a running storyline lately, and this is a follow-up to that. One of the storylines, the most pronounced one, is Venus is currently in real time in the constellation of Virgo. So a lot of signs are making their way into the 6th house. The 6th house, the Hermit, has also appeared in a lot of the houses in their readings, indicating symbolically, because Venus is there, and we're doing a lot of love reading. Speaking of that, this embodiment right here is Venus's energy. This is Libra's energy, also Taurus's energy, the 2nd house. And notice here, matter of fact, that's Taurus's archetype in a minor arcana, the 2nd house right there, speaking of that. So there's been a reading that has been expressing those details where literally I came into the sixth house at one point and seen a lot of energy working, and it looked like basically alchemizing, working really hard to alchemize the energies of, it looks like, of collective relationship situations, especially those that are experiencing some hardship right now. So it looks like in the sixth house there was a lot of work and effort applied to assist those connections that were struggling. Reminded me of the sixth house and what it stands for. The sixth house governs work, service, routines, like daily routines, and also health and healing. Venus in the sixth house of Venus in Virgo, the love language there is acts of service. So anyhow, that energy was there, and it was like, wow. So when I first seen it, it just looked like, I'm a sci-fi person, so it really looked kind of like a like I walked into a holodeck or something. But I don't know, guys. That's not the right word I wanted to use. But anyhow, and I didn't see an output yet. I just seen a lot of work alchemizing. So it's like, wow, guys, when we come back here, I feel like we're gonna start to see some results of, you know, this alchemization of these relationships with the intention of trying to heal a lot of these relationships. So the first time I seen an output, it was really beautiful, and it was the Five of Swords. But anyhow, guys, those videos are still up, and I can't, let's see here. Those videos are still up, guys. But I remember seeing the first output was the Five of Swords. So it's like, oh, wow, at least I'm seeing an output. And the Five of Swords pointed to the fifth chakra, the throat chakra. But I talked about it. Then I came back and there was the Ten of Pentacles there. So that was even better. Like, wow, guys, we have the Ten of Pentacles here. Now today we have the King of Pentacles. So we're seeing more upgrades, more upgrades. And it almost looks like with the Five of Pentacles that, you know, maybe that type of alchemization is, oh, I was about to say, it's coming to an end. And that is true, because the last time I looked, Venus has progressed through the constellation of Virgo, and it's either currently in the third decan, but I don't know how long it's going to be there, guys. But there also, it starts to resonate with the fifth house, and we just got out of the fifth house where it was talking about like risky investments, and also the attempts to get out of the cold with a loved one that you might be out of contact with, or you guys might be experiencing some hardships in your connection. And I believe our gradient was in the same placement, like right there, where, so it looks like that alchemized work is pretty much completed. But when I say pretty much completed, I mean it still could be ongoing, and there's the residual effects that are realized out here, depending on the nature and depending on what's going on with it. But I feel like here's more so of the output, where you have the Empress and the King of Pentacles. The Empress could be part of the alchemization and part of the workforce. So then we're looking at the output of the King of Pentacles. And so far, this has been the gradient where we're looking at the output. And over here has been where the work embodiment has taken place. But here you see the Five of Pentacles. So that almost suggests that the work is finished. And it looks like you can see workers are kind of like going home type energy. It looks like they finished their work. They're real tired. Going home. But anyhow, guys, only if you're following me in my fantasy, like the way that I'm seeing it, describing it like that. Like, okay, we're done, guys. Here it is. Your potentials for your reconciliations. Your potentials for you guys coming back together and working that out. We have the Empress and the King of Pentacles type energy on the table. But otherwise, guys, this is talking about a single, well, I'm going to put a pin in all of that what I was trying to express there being complete. But the Five of Pentacles describes, feeling left out in the cold, weathering a storm on your own. You're not doing bad, but you definitely could be doing better. It's been worse, you've been through worse. And so things are looking up pretty good as far as that's concerned. And it looks like your energy is headed towards abundance, a promotion, a raise, things becoming a lot more easier and better for you in the near future. And as far as you, if you're single, coming into the dating arena, it looks like dating looks good for you as far as your opportunities to meet lovers of quality that more so resonate with what you're looking for, what you need in your life, to meet your match. And it looks like with that type of dynamic, there probably still is some work to do potentially, but the work is totally possible. Like it's real close because, ideally, perhaps you want to have the Empress, with the Emperor to see that it's a real, good match. But here with the Empress and the King of Pentacles, that is a good match, but there could be a little dissonance, like, you know what I mean? Room for improvement. Leave it for Virgo to start speculating and picking stuff apart that much. That much, right? Because generally speaking, looks like a pretty good match. Yep. And basically the Empress has that potential. You know what I mean? The Empress embodies the resources, the aptitude, the potential is there. This is like the great mother, basically. And, the feminine aspect of the divine, of the Most High. So that's what I was looking at. There's potential for the Empress to nurture this King of Pentacles, which could be on the stage to embody, not necessarily masculine or feminine in its personified perspective, but the output of, the embodiment of the Court and their potential to move forward. If that makes any sense, guys. But thank you. I feel like that's pretty much a complete reading, and I wanted to attempt to try to explain that. And before going back to work on it, because that's what I was inclined to do, was to continue working and pulling more clarifiers. But I felt when I do that, I probably will forget what I see at the moment. So I wanted to express that first and then come back to work on it some more. So let me see. All right. Well, that added context there. Off of the page, I have to say that I'm being redirected. But I don't know if I already said already that I put a pin in the first translation, even though it was probably highly unintelligible. But I did my best to try to get it off my chest. But I'm going to put a pin in that as completed because I know I saw what I saw. And then the clarifiers, like I said, look for clarifiers to redirect, to expound upon, or to reiterate, which is restating what was seen. But it says, yeah. Remember when I described this embodiment here as the workers that were finished and they're ready to go home, clock out, and they're done. They look tired, etc., etc. The redirection here is they're called back into work. It's like just when you thought you ever have those shifts where just as you thought it was done and you're going home because you just did some overtime or just had a time, the previous shift was hard as heck. It's been tough for a couple of, days or weeks or whatever. You just finally think that you're about to go home and then they call you back. That's what it's starting to look like too. But one thing that is being restated and reiterated is that yes, these are the workers that I was describing. And so yeah, I'll put a pin in that. But it looks like they're returning. They have to return and work here. And that also feels like it resonates with what I was seeing in the fifth house and even the first house. Let's see, the third house and the fourth house in a way. Not so much the fourth house, though. The fourth house was pretty much had very decisive, intentional energy there. It was kind of like that was like the most clear that we've seen in the as we're moving through the houses so far. But what I mean, guys, is that the fifth house, I feel like, is the best to piggyback off with a hypothetical to help establish some resonance if it does. Is remember in the fifth house, it looked like there were some risky investors, for an example, that they were going to they were going with their investments for the long run. Like, what is it? You're going to hold it long. And it looked like they were successful by the hair on their chinny chin chin. Like they just barely pulled it off in the fifth house. I'm really picking up some resonance there. And then remember, the fifth house governs courtship and the courtship, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Courtship, romance, relationships. We mentioned it in the fifth house. We went through it already. But so here would suggest, oh, okay, we have some risky investors. Well, let's turn around and alchemize this situation for them too. Type energy. And so we already looked at that house and seen how the residual that the opportunity for success was diminished. We already talked about that. And so I feel like picking up that storyline and using a hypothetical to try to color it. Yeah, so they went back into work to help alchemize this situation. And already the potential is great. Empress, King of Pentacles, but like the infractions are great too. So it kind of picks up where I said in this house, at this time, it was like the connections that were experiencing hardships, those connections that were at a disconnect already, So there's the hardship, the Tower, the Nine of Swords, stressing. So it reminds me that, in the Nine of Swords, there's prayers here, happening as well. If that resonates with your style of, praying for your situations, just really a lot of anxiety there, worry, kind of like torment, some guilt, just really wishing you could turn the hands of time because of this devastation right here. And this represents a breakup or, something, if it's outside of a relationship dynamic, but something catastrophic in that Tower. So yeah, it looks like the workers turn around to help alchemize the situation, is what it looks like there. Now also, so we've seen this type of energy in the first house, but it's been a while. My memory's not that great, so at the moment I don't remember the details. Also, though, what is most pronounced is what happened in the 12th house, because that's the first time I noticed. But after I noticed it in the 12th house, I started noticing the same thing in other houses where the Piscean started to, try to fix it. That energy was trying to fix this Tower moment. And I remember musing over the concept for a while. I was looking at it, and in the 12th house, there was the Knight of Pentacles, the King and Queen, And the knight showed up a couple of times, but yeah. And they were like planting their pinnacles right there. It looked like at the base of the tower, metaphorically speaking, but they were planting it right under the moonlight. And it looked like a very, what is that? Etheric. I think, oh gosh, I can't get my words together. But a surreal garden to be planting their seeds, planting their pinnacles. And it took a while for me to realize what's going on there. And I finally realized, yes, they're healing. They came to heal that situation. They came to fix it. They came to repair that. They have faith in it. They have faith in it. They love it so much. They came back to put their pinnacles right there under that tower to rebuild it. So that's what I feel like. And then here we are, ironically, there's 8 pinnacles right there, ready. So we've seen in the 12th house first. I remember seeing in the 12th house, they're putting it right there to heal the situation. Here's the Empress blessing that situation. It's a good energy to heal, to repair, to nurture, to breathe life back into it. And is there the element of surprise and tears of joy? Or is there some disappointment and grief still, But we have seen in other houses, how either or could play out. So, but what it looked like when there was a high rate of success and there was tears of joy here. Yeah, it feels like this is the area that I'll start clarifying it, see what we could see. So at the top of the deck is the first card, the main male, great fortune, message of concern, main man, great fortune, message of concern, poverty, house, main man, unexpected income, journey, main woman, unexpected income, message of concern, wedding or marriage actually, unexpected income, gift, courtship, toil and labor, card 38. Great fortune, house, journey, despair, family room, main woman, okay, so let's see here. So you've seen how that storyline of clarifiers went. So, and I haven't been closed out yet. The man and the woman took the stage. And it looked like they're working towards repairing their connection. So it does look like a success as far as that is concerned. Working towards healing their connection. And the toil and labor card made an appearance. You're welcome. Thank you too. Hey chat, thank you so much everybody for your support on the video and on the channel as well. Thank you. So we seen the toil and labor card come up, and this is the house. Like I said, the love language is acts of service. But the thing about that labor and toil, like for a while, we just seen the people of interest run into sudden wealth, like run into sudden, you know, fortune. But and I was musing over that, like, that's interesting that they just like run into the money. It looks like it's easy money. Well, then it started to look like, it was inheritance or a will of testament, something, you know, we were looking in the fifth house where there's some gambling and investments taking place. But anyways, and I said, and I had to say there is a toil and labor card there. So there is a possibility to see, somebody working hard for their fortune, working hard for their sudden wealth. But in these cases, I keep seeing that these people are just running into wealth. But anyhow, we talked about it. But there, now around the toil and labor, there was despair right around the corner of that too. So let's see what that is. Oh, but as far as the relationship and the reconciliation, it did look like that one moved towards marriage. So it looks like that reconciliation happened, and I'm reminded about those connections. Hold on. Sometimes I think I'm going back to the table, but and then I remember those connections that would have finances as a concern. Remember? And those were throughout the different houses. And I'm also reminded how the sixth house, a lot of signs are coming here because Venus is here. And remember the storyline that we're seeing alchemization taking place. The workers are working to assist everyone with their connections. And there were some connections that were headed towards reconciliations and or marriage and engagement, but finances and career were an issue. So let's take a look here and see. So it looks like the relationship is getting off the ground and healing as described. But then there's another reading here talking about the work, the toil and the labor. That's when we're seeing some despair make appearances. So now we're at the main woman, great fortune message, unexpected income message, distant horizons, and then the coffin makes an appearance too. So that right there was just pointing towards those who are working on their finances and on their career, that they're working hard. But then you see the great fortune card make an appearance. So again, about what I was saying, hey, I'm reminded about how many times I've seen people, the money was coming easy to them. But in this reading, it says toil and labor. So somebody's working really hard. But, well, yeah, the toil and labor is hard work. But they do get the great fortune as well. And also it looks like distant horizons made an appearance. So it looks like as far as career, work, money, income, it's improving. And there's a journey with that. So let's see what else. And also there was unexpected income. So yeah, there's a journey there, and change is on the horizon. Poverty is in the picture. Unexpected income, house makes an appearance, and change. So here I feel like that statement is talking about, yeah, this person is working hard for their fortune, but we've seen that there looks like there's a promotion and or the money is coming easier. They're being successful in that capacity. So it looks like their horizons are expanding, and their conditions in regard to their poverty is also changing too. So let's see what else. Improving, healing, healing that situation. And what else? Okay, now the bad health card makes an appearance, and then the coffin. So let's see what else. Sudden wealth. Sudden wealth. Poverty. Great fortune. Wealthy man. Main man. bad health. So I want to look at this bad health. But also, let's see, in that storyline that's developing, there's a wealthy man, there's a main man, and that comes into the reading to suggest that there are options here in love as well. Now, is one of the love interests, potentially wealthy, basically, as described? And maybe among the options is somebody who might not be like as wealthy, but, you know, dot, 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 they may still, have other qualities that are endearing. And I feel like that is energy specific and not necessarily gender specific too. Maybe some of the love interests that are male have women that they're considering. Some may be wealthy and or financially well off. Some may not be. But do they have other attributes that kind of bring balance to what they're looking for? But that sentiment came into the reading. So let's see, around the bad health, let's take a look at why the bad health is here. Is it the erotica and the adult content, or is it actual bad health as being described? In Holy Spirit, I'm referring to the first time I seen the bad health. Okay, Seven of Pentacles, Hermit, aka the ninth house, the Queen of Pentacles, aka the 10th house, 13 major arcana, aka the 8th house, Nine of Swords, between the two of fire and the Nine of Swords, the Judgment, the World, and the Ace of Fire. Alright, so it looks like bad health, the first time around too, is what I was really looking for. Was there for bad health. It wasn't talking about the adult activity, but it looked like bad health, and it looked like bad health that was also contributing to the career and or the checklists, that their person of interest is looking for in their person, but the bad health embodiment seemed to be affected in that arena. So it was there to talk about bad health. There was endearing messages of concern that came out in major arcanas with the Judgment, the World, and the Ace of Fire. So there, that might suggest some healing to that situation, is why it was mentioned. But I just wanted to check out that. And then there was a second appearance when that bad health came out. So I want to check on that one and see, was that one also referring to bad health, or is that the one where we're looking at adult activity? And that storyline is in progress. I just paused because I seen this bad health card make another appearance. So I wanted to check on it. Dear Holy Spirit, please clarify the second time the bad health card made an appearance. Okay, Eight of Pentacles, looking over here. But the Eight of Pentacles, 15 major arcana, Nine of Swords, Knight of Fire, High Priestess, Knight of Pentacles, Hermit, Knight of Pentacles, Hermit, Knight of Pentacles again, Hermit again. So there's a repeat there, huh? Knight of Pentacles, Hermit, King of Pentacles, Hangman, Nine of Swords, the World, the Ace of Cups, Eight of Fire, Empress, Four of Swords, Page of Fire, Ninth House, Strength, Fifth House, Eight of Swords, Page of Fire. Okay, so is that adult activity or is it actual bad health? So it looks like, again, it's pointing to bad health, and somebody is working hard to try to, maintain the compensate for their, disabilities, and trying to make it, in their career, and they're trying to make it, just everywhere, every way that they can. So it looks like that journey is being described there. So it looks like, yeah, bad health, but somebody trying to help themselves and help the situation they keep going on. So we did see some positives there, like when the Ace of Cups made an appearance, and the World card made an appearance, which I was looking at in the clarifiers, and I was wondering, is that a good, are those good major arcanas? They look good. But yeah, that's what I was looking at there. And so I'm going to continue the storyline in just a moment. And those clarifiers were pointing me back to the spread, and I feel like what's been described in the spread so far is somebody trying to work in the sixth house, working to help those who are dealing with that. So let's see, that are dealing with those concepts too. And it's also like when I say I look for clarifiers to be redirected, or to reiterate what was said already, or to expound upon. I feel like I'm learning. And also the ninth house was pointed to a couple different times, which is the house that governs higher learning. That when I'm looking at the seventh house and I'm seeing love and romance and marriage, but the love encompasses more than just the romance and the marriage, but the love, for those who are going through hard times, those who are, struggling just to make ends meet, those prayers, those actions toward that type of healing, those acts of service are directed to those loved ones too. Just not just only, the lovers that get to experience that, but the love, the love, the good Samaritan type of love for those in need, the love language, the acts of service for those, the compassion for those, and we're seeing the tenacity in them to not give up on themselves. And so let's see what else we can see. The prayers that go up, the prayers that go up. So let's see here, the prayers that go up, that are answered, that are being answered, that have been seen, those petitions have been heard. I just felt inspired to say that, of course. Here's the message of concern, and then it's being closed out. All right. So, just looking over here about what's happening with the Nine of Swords, clarifying the King of Pentacles. Let's see, is there anything else? Okay, great fortune, change, pathway, great fortune again, message of concern. Okay, and closing out there. So yeah, I just feel like that confirmation there is confirming that, yeah, somebody is working hard to change, their fortune from poverty, from ailment, from sickness, from lack, from despair, working to change their situation. And there's positive indication that they're doing good, keep going type energy. And this is what's being described here in its trajectory. That, there's a lot of hard work going into being successful here to change the situations, and good Samaritans, helping one another, and especially those that are in that position. And otherwise, what else was said? And then we did get that storyline that for those who were looking for reconciliation and, took their chances at trying to heal the situation, those connections, it was really short and sweet to the point, describing that they are headed towards a reconciliation and they're headed towards fixing and healing their connections. And then there was a pin in that one. It was, a closed out storyline, really straightforward and simple. So that's what we have there. And yeah, oh, thanks for reminding me of that too. Yeah, people aren't always looking at the money aspect of it, especially when they have, gone through certain experiences in life where, they realize money comes and goes, and, happiness, peace, and the effort and the work and the service that goes into maintaining that, you know, when you know how to harness that and maintain that and have that and protect that and you know then the money comes easier, actually, the money. But anyhow, I agree with you. Some people might try to go that route, and that was what was explained here. So let's see, this last stream we picked up in the 5th house, the 6th house, and next we'll move to the 7th house. Amen. Let's see what's going on. All right, so thank you, chat. Thank you guys, everybody in the chat, and thank you for your support on the video and on the channel. Let's see what else goes on here. Thank you, God, for your goodness and your mercy. Hallelujah. That song, but that song plays in my mind a lot. By SWV. Is that the song by SWV? I get so weak at the knees, I can hardly speak, I lose all control. Knocks me right off from my feet. Can't explain what Your love so sweet, reminds me of my feelings. Seventh house. Alright, let's see. Mm-hmm. Almost identical to the sixth house. And so, not surprising because in real time, Venus is currently in the constellation of Virgo, and the seventh house governs Venus. So here we go with the epic running storyline throughout the houses, some houses, where the Knight of Pentacles is rushing towards the Tower. And so, as I always like to say, when I see Pentacles and it's moving through a transformative energy like the Tower, I look at what the output is, and to have the Nine of Swords, man, what is that? Is the Nine of Swords embodying tears of joy? Or yeah, the element of surprise there. The element of surprise there suggests, man, somebody just barely made it out. So that's what that looks like. Ooh, I just barely made it out of that situation. But they definitely had to work hard and have a strong mindset, determination. And so that, yeah, to see, that's why I'm like, hey, where did the Pentacles go? Okay, to have that type of output that somebody just barely made it out. Whew. Okay, so that's a sense of relief where somebody's just glad that they made it out. They just barely made it out, especially how it's represented as they fought hard. They had to keep a straight, they had to keep a, disciplined mind to make it out of that. Whew. So I just barely made it out. Okay, so I can feel my energy diminishing, but I want to keep going, of course, because what happened? Well, I mean, what else? What else? What else? What else, man? But here it almost looks like a bailout kind of type of situation too. Because you see this energy like to the rescue type, and then somebody just barely made it out. So I was talking about their disciplined mind and how they had to maintain, but it looks like somebody is helping. Let's see what happened. Somebody is helping, or did you go try to help somebody and barely made it out yourself type energy? Let's see. So I feel like there is a confirmation that this energy is on the rescue. going through the, the pinnacle, the suit of pentacles, starting at the six of pentacles, 7, 8, 9, 10, page, knight, queen, king. So yeah, this is somebody to the rescue. Let's see what's going on. Thirteen major arcana. So yeah, a purge, that transformative energy, the death card. Scorpio's house, the 8th house. 7 of cups, emotional disorientation. 2 of swords. So it feels like they don't know how to, they're stuck at a crossroad. 4 of fire. King of cups, 8th house. 13 major arcana, matter of fact, 2. King of pentacles, 2nd house. Taurus energy. Pisces, hangman, 12th house. 7 of cups. King of fire, 6 of pentacles. 13 major arcana. 7 of cups. Ace of swords. Okay, so yeah, that looks like a rescue mission, a bailout. Somebody is moving to help. Similar energy is described in the 6th house too. 6th house, Virgo's house. The house of service, and where Venus is there, acts of service is the love language. So this feels similar to what was described in the 6th house, but a rescue mission of sorts, trying to help someone with situations. It looks like housing situations made an appearance there, and I don't think what else. But yeah, that's what it was looking like. Let's see what else. Okay, 5 of fire and the apprentice. So it confirms that it was difficult with that 5 of fire. But let's see, King of Pentacles, 7 of fire, Emperor, Ace of swords. So then you see there's some helpers there. Whew, some major arcanas. King of Pentacles, we've seen over here around this dispatch of help as described. Alright, so stability and etc. So the things clarified there is it looks like those are tears of joy. Okay. Whew. Okay. So yeah, guys, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate your support on the channel and all. And I'll be back to update in just a moment, as soon as I can. So I don't really know what's going on in the comment section, but thank you for interacting in the chat. And I don't know if that final question there was like a dig, or what is that comment supposed to be about? Yeah, the 7th house. I want to come back and rework the 7th house, so thank you for your question, because I don't feel like I was able to give this one my full attention. But yeah, the 7th house does govern relationships. And then when I say relationships, I feel like the more accurate word for it in this case is partnerships. The 7th house more so governs partnerships. Like the 3rd house, I feel like governs relationships, among siblings, neighbors, extended family, because those are like relationships. But the partnerships in the seventh house could be business related, like partners, like a collaborative effort, a collaboration where the relationships could just, be, it just has a different resonance to them. But because the seventh house can govern partnerships as far as on a business level, work buddies, co-owners of an enterprise, for an example, in marriage. And yes, contractual agreements are in the seventh house, and also legalities. Matter of fact, legal issues, legal concerns are in the seventh house too. With the scales of Libra and the justice being the archetype for Libra, which governs the seventh house, and also like where the eighth house points to other people's monies, like taxes and insurances and inheritances, for an example. The seventh house governs shared monies, the resources, like in a marriage, for an example, or like in a shared business enterprise, for example. So yeah, these are the things. And thank you. That's a really great question and redirection to look at and to consider even in this translation. I appreciate your positive feedback. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm so glad. I appreciate your encouragement too, and yeah, because what you added helped me. Because I was just reading, my energy is diminished, so I want to come back with a better energetic state of being to give more to this house. And but yes, my objective is to be able to read it and read the energy and its trajectory, and then kind of leave it at that. You know, to see if you guys are able to apply your situations if it resonates to what you're going through, potentially. And hopefully the data will be able to help add resonance as I talk about the symbols and the tarot jargon and, how the trajectory is moving in the reading according to my interpretation. So good job on pulling it back into what the seventh house governs. Correct. Matter of fact, I was doing a personal reading the other day. It was the yes or no free reading for subscribers. And, on that one, I was just more so leaning towards people's goodwill and, to subscribe to the channel to get the free reading. But, when it's not under the subscriber mode, which I haven't putting it on, and that's why I like to use the subscriber mode. I keep repeating it because then I can say for those who have been subscribed for 30 days or more, because they're more familiar with my style of reading and who I am as a person more so. So if there's dissonance within 30 days, they probably likely will unsubscribe, and that's not somebody I want to be doing no free readings for. You know what I mean? But because those are the people who come subscribe and get a reading and unsubscribe because they're not familiar with me or my style or da 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 da. But what did I say yesterday? Thank you for those who did subscribe and stay subscribed. I'm honored, and I'm thankful and I'm grateful because, of course, I want to grow here. There was a reading, and it was a yes or no question, and the person I was reading for was real easy to read their yes or no. But there was additional information that was coming out, and it was pointing towards the legalities. Yeah, so like if somebody was going through legalities like that, the seventh house would be a good place to look for information about that. And then, like that type of context, generally speaking, that gives some reference to, like this bailout energy that was described, and how there was a sense of relief of just barely making it out of that situation. So yeah, reading it off the top and shooting in the dark as I was, tired as I was, and I was kind of feeling like, man, does this make any sense to anybody? But that would give some context. Yeah, rescue, like it looked like a rescue mission or like a bailout, like somebody just barely made it out of that situation. It looks like they couldn't have done it without the help of others. And I was looking at it like, is that possibly their own energy helping themselves? But what about it look like? I mean, that's possible, but it mostly looked like, and yeah, that points to the seventh house partnerships. That mostly looked like someone else was involved. I mean, they could have been delegating that. Matter of fact, yeah, when the was it like the Queen, King, some court cards came out around that Knight of Pentacle area. But anyways, yeah, somebody could have just barely made it out. Indeed, indeed, and that Nine of Swords then would reflect that relief and woo, that thankfulness, gratitude, tears of joy, not just for them even, but for the people collaborating with that same effort of bailing them out, getting them off, getting them free, getting them out of that situation type energy. But yeah, oh yeah, that's dope too. You said Aquarius is, I'm reading your, yeah, that makes sense too, actually. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, girl. What's going on? Oh, are you dreaming? Well, wake up. All right. Signing off for now. Oh, let's see. Been watching. Oh, well, I just appreciate it. The feedback, and I love. I okay. Take care. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Appreciate you all. Signing off for now. Until next time. Peace.